My brother was ill for a long time. Dr. Bawumia was one of the few friends who paid him regular visits to encourage him and to push him on until his death. He's a good man. He's a good man. He's a good man, and I'm glad to be able to say that I can count him among my friends.
The fact that I've known him for more than 40 years, from the time he was 12 years old up to now, shows you that he doesn't forget friends. When he moved, even when he was living in Canada, we were always kept in touch. Anytime he came to London, he would call me and we would meet up. And when I used to come and visit him at the Bank of Ghana, when he was working here, I'd stay with him at his flat in Ardenta. He was staying in the SNIT flats then. So, and he used to come and meet me at the airport anytime I landed. I mean, he's a very down-to-earth, very, very down-to-earth, honest person.
Me kosran mrebi. Me koya me sane me cransa me ba. O sifi ni office. Be jam me adu. Enti ni madam for me no ko hen ho. Eh. Na papa pen na wono wa be san na wo kwa. Wa san so refi na koma na am see that's how he is. Oh, obia o ye humble and respectful ni ade. Ti anyam.
He still mingles with friends. He keeps in touch with us all the time. His friends in Canada, he keeps in touch with me all the time. Even when he's busy and I send him a message, it's shocking. I get a message straight back. And it makes me so excited that, you know, the Vice President has sent me a message. Even though he's my friend, I revere him so much that I really appreciate his friendship. I remember when we came for the inauguration, when he won the first, when they won the first election, he was actually sitting on the dais. And I sent him a message during the inauguration, and he replied. And I showed it to my friend, look, the Vice President has replied to me. Honestly, he's a really down-to-earth person.
Well, yeah, because he's always working on his phone. He's the opposite of me. But yes, everybody, he reaches out. People look for him. People would say, like, I have a text from the Vice President at 3 a.m. And you know, like, don't text the person at this hour. He says, well, there's work today. I need to let them know. Or a text has come in and he's responding as soon as he has time to. But yes, he keeps in touch with people. He's very responsive.
Position where do you call here now? No, that kind of thing. The way is near the as and Colano, Sa Uhua, Sa Mikasa Brebicra, obey a vice president for from. Me kokotia no mini ha e call ena enkobodi dia you feel near from Mamudu straight na minua no oh sorry vice not so but you know me as Mamudu so why you know so you see that humility in him obi anko be mom no so you know be a madri mom me no just
the way ni na me so me hwe no ehun de Usitie na mo brase ne edwa wo ene se do sika sa kyerem panimfo ye no mo hefo ne ayma afọ kwade obo ni ma oboni mu ase
Dr. Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia has been exceptional everywhere he's been. He leaves a mark and raises the flag of Ghana high everywhere he goes.
And I would also go further to tell you, when we lost the election 2008, Bawumia moved to join the African Development Bank. The bank posted him to Zimbabwe as its country representative there. He worked so well. So 2012, when our candidate, Akufo-Addo, again renominated him to be his running mate, the then head of the African Development Bank, called Mr. Kaberuka, I believe he's from Rwanda or Tanzania, very impressive, charismatic person, came telling me to talk with me. Oh, Mr. President, dissuade the young man from coming back to talk. He's doing so well in that country. Let him stay there. He's got a future in the bank. I considered this appeal from the government I told Mr. Kabarka, I shouldn't be for me to dissuade this youngster from accepting to become running mate.
When I left the presidency, I started giving a series of lectures around the world, and I went to Oxford to give lectures at Oxford. I didn't know that Dr. Bawumia was then in Oxford. So after I gave him my lectures, the last one, I was invited by whatever they're called, ward master or whatever. The whole lunch from all the Oxford lectures was about a brilliant economist who's doing research at Oxford. And they were referring to Dr. Bawumia. Yes, you can understand why I have tremendous respect for him.
When I went to Oxford, his professor at Oxford, at the Blavatnik school, used to tell me things about what, Dr. Bawumia used to do. And, like how, he was studious, how he stood out, and he really understood the area that he was engaged in. It was just lovely to hear that from about another Ghanaian, at a prestigious university like Oxford, from a professor, and anytime I came back, I'll come and tell Dr. Bawumia, listen, I met this professor of yours, and he said very lovely things about you.
We went to the same university for our PhD. So he left Simon Fraser University in Burnaby, Canada. He left 2 years before I went to the department. And when I went there, I was the only Ghanaian. And anytime I told anybody that I was from Ghana, the first question would be, do you know Mahmoud? And I was like, who is he? No, I didn't know him. But I was surprised everybody was asking about him. And I thought that he was the only person there, like I was the only person. Only to find out later that there were about 14 Ghanaians in the department at that time when he was there. And I was like, then why is everybody only asking about him? What about the other 13? It was later on that I found out that he was like the unifying figure among them. He was like their leader, trying to make sure that everybody is well taken care of, everybody is, is doing well. The welfare of those people there were like his priority. And that's when I understood it. But later on, I realized that it was not just that he was brilliant. Now, his brilliance made him, shine in the midst of his peers. And that's why I said, I felt proud.
Dr. Bawumia is a good man, not only because he has a good intellect and he can think on his feet and think into the future. He's a good man because he loves people and he wants to sacrifice his life to serve them. He's someone you will describe as someone who wants to practice servant leadership. He's a good man also because he's not greedy. He's not greedy, he is quite contented with what he has. And that is always a good sign that the person will be more interested in what others get than what comes to him.
Dr. Bawumia has always been hardworking and will not substitute work for pleasure.
He was known among the family circles. If you read even the background, you see clearly he was getting scholarships, distinction, and so forth. So he was a brilliant student. And you can even see, I'm so happy. He's not really taken aback with what is going on, and is not affected in any way.
He's absolutely hardworking. I actually tease him that he lives to work because he literally works every day of the week. In the 20 plus years I've known him, there's not one day, as you can see, like a weekend or a Sunday, that he will lie in and, he's working or he's doing something related to work. People are coming to see him. So he just works around the clock. It's incredible how he does it.
His brilliance never made him swollen-headed and willingly did all kinds of jobs that could pay his bills.
And while we were all struggling in London, I was driving a minicab, like a taxi. And with my close friend Adrian and Mahmoud, all of us were doing taxi driving while we were studying. You know, he's a hard-working person. And as he said, he cleaned dormitories when he was in Canada. I even washed plates.
Dr. Bawumia is indeed a man of destiny, because at every moment, God orders his steps.
Well, look at where we are today. I would say it's the most unlikely of circumstances. But when I met him, he was on another tangent, and it seems to me that his steps are ordered.
Hiding in his place at the Bank of Ghana, somebody puts in a word somewhere and he's lifted and becomes the vice president. Many people will tell you that it is he who won the election for the NPP.
We went to a Financial Times investment meeting. You know how the Financial Times journalists are. They were asking all kinds of difficult questions. And many members of the economic management team were present. And you could see that they were struggling. So at one point, Dr. Bawumia was, I didn't know him then. He was standing at the back and he kept raising his hand. So the President Kufuor asked me, who's that? I said, I don't know. He said, give him the floor. When he had finished, the argument was over.
This youngster read the paper to the conference, plenary, full conference. The paper was so good. And as I say, I hadn't talked with him before. I didn't really know him. When he finished the paper, he received ovation, I would say. The applause was big. So he was going to sit. But it was so good, and I was so proud that he was a Ghanaian youngster. So I instructed that he should be called for me. He came, and in his own naturally humble way was bowing to. I said, hey, this paper you have read, so good. Keep on at it, and you'll go far.
Dr. Bawumia was a research assistant to the then governor of the Bank of Ghana. In less than 2 years, the work he did at the Financial Times meeting in London got him marked for something huge.
A year or two later, there was vacancy for deputy governorship. But the first choice was really not Bawumia. Governor came to see me, and I brought up a name that was not even part of the bank's staff. That person was, I think, at that time, the deputy chief executive from Barclays. Very top notch professional banker. So I said, that for that position, give it to this guy from Barclays. Governor agreed. Before we could communicate to that person, and I'm telling you, that person hadn't lobbied me for anything. He didn't even know that he'd come to notice. Just within 2 days of my deciding the position should be given to that man, there was an announcement that the person had been appointed the CEO of another bank, top bank, international bank. So the governor rushed back to me and said, oh, the person you mentioned is now the CEO. So we thought about it a bit. How strange. Well, let him go. Then some names came up from within the bank, all professionals, some even more senior than Bawumia then.
The president made a mistake of asking me, do you remember that young man who we noticed? Of course I remember that young man. The rest, as they say, is part of history.
Apparently President Kufuor ran it by Dr. Polakwa to see how he felt about giving him the deputy governorship, and he said, well, the guy does the work anyway, so I would be honored for him to be given that position.
You remember that youngster who read the paper in the Landmark Hotel? Oh yes, Bawumia. Say yes. give it to him, just like it. Just like it. It wasn't as if Bawumia had come to see me about some position or promotion. Never, nothing like that at all. Just give it to him. But I had come to believe the boy could do the job.
He had called to say there was something he needed to tell me when he gets home, and he got home to say, well, he's been offered to be deputy governor. And I was like, wait, what did your boss say about it? Because then now you're almost as close to your boss when you are his special assistant.
Could this be described as a coincidence, or that special grace called favor, which is a gift from God? This special assistant had overrun everyone to become the second most powerful man at the Bank of Ghana. Alhaji Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia is a true man of destiny.
We acknowledge the arrival of His Excellency, President of the Republic of Ghana, President John Agyekum Kufuor. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise.
John Agyekum Kufuor was born 80 years ago in 1938. He was born into royalty, into the 400-year-old Ashanti Kingdom in Kumasi in Ghana. Mr. Kufuor studied at Prempeh College and later at the University of Oxford, where he earned a bachelor's in political science, philosophy and economics. He later studied for the bar and was called to Lincoln's Inn before he returned to Ghana to take up his first job as KCC chairman. KCC meaning Kumasi City Council, the same as today's mayor of Kumasi. As faith and interest would have it, Mr. Kufuor joined politics and became a member of the Consultative Assembly that drew up the Second Republican Constitution in 1979. J. Kufuor was elected as a member of parliament under that constitution and became Deputy Foreign Minister at the age of 29. Here, Mr. Kufuor is seen in 1969 welcoming presidential guests to the inauguration of Prime Minister Kofi Abrefa-Busia. J.A. Kufuor's political career was, however, truncated by a coup d'etat led by this man, General Kutu Achampong.
As you go home, remember that the revolution continues unabated.
Politics returned in 1979, and once again, Kufuor was active. He won a parliamentary seat for the Popular Front Party in Ashanti. Here is Mr. Kufuor's own account of 1979.
The campaign was a bit mad because the executions and the baying for blood and those things were so new and strange, traumatic to Ghana.
Another coup d'etat ended the Third Republican Constitution. Mr. Kufuor retired to private business until politics returned in the late 1980s, culminating in the promulgation of the 1992 Constitution. Kufuor, the politician, was back in the saddle, and in 1996, he was elected for the first time as the leader of his party, the New Patriotic Party. Here is Ghana Television announcing the story to Ghanaians the day after Kufuor was elected.
Mr. J.A. Kufuor was elected presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party at a National Delegates Congress of the party held in Accra yesterday. He polled 1,034 votes. Professor Albert Edubuahen, who won the candidacy in 1992, polled 711 votes, while Mr. J.H. Mensah, a minister in the Second Republic, had 110 votes. Dr. Jones Oforiatta, a deputy minister in the Second Republic, had 69 votes, while Dr. Kwame Safwedu, also a former minister, had 42 votes, with Dr. Jani Selby, a medical practitioner, trailing with 24 votes. In all, 1,997 out of the 2,000 candidates voted, while 7 voting cards were rejected.
The Congress started off without Mr. J.A. Kufuor, one of the aspirants. When he did come, the chairman of the party, Mr. Peter Ala Ajete, was delivering his speech.
What is important, ladies and gentlemen, is that at the end of the day, when one person emerges as our presidential flag bearer, all of us, in truth and honesty, to gird our loins and without denying or withholding anything from such a flag bearer, support him and back him to the hilt so that he will be accepted not just by our party, but what is more important, by the country at large.
Out of the valid votes cast, Dr. Dan Selby had 24 votes, which comes to 1.2%. 1.2% of the valid votes cast. Dr. Safuadu had 42 votes, and that amounts to 2.1 of the valid votes. Then Dr. Jones Oforata had 69 votes. That is 3.5%. Then Mr. J.H. Mensah had 110 votes, which is 5.5% of the valid votes. Professor Dubuahin had 711, and that is 35.7%. Mr. J. Kufuor had 1,034.
The losing candidates first pledged their support to the winner, Mr. J.A. Kufuor.
Naturally, I am disappointed, but I am not discouraged. Democracy is at work. The people have made their decision. We now have a leader of this party, and all of us who are committed NPP will put our energies and service at his disposal, work as hard as possible to ensure that victory comes to NPP 1996.
I would like to congratulate him and want to assure him that he can count on me. We should know that this is just a means to an end.
I would like to send my heartiest, warmest congratulations to Mr. J.A. Kufuor for winning so decisively and with such resounding results.
I am sure that with Mr. J. Kufuor holding the flag of the NPP for the coming presidential elections, and more importantly, since he believes he will try and foster this alliance and make sure that victory is won in December this year.
The contest is now history. And as is the tradition of our party, I resolve to work effectively with my colleague aspirants.
Being nominated as a presidential candidate is one thing, and winning the actual presidency is another task. How Mr. Kufuor is going to fulfill this ambition will depend on the Ghanaian electorate who go to the polls in December this year to exercise their franchise. As to whether he will be given the nod or not, well, time will tell. Francis Esu, GTV News, report.
Unfortunately, Mr. Kufuor lost the 1996 election, but his conduct on Inauguration Day won him many admirers within the Ghanaian body politic. Mr. Kufuor did the unthinkable. He mounted the stage to congratulate his rival, Flight Lieutenant Rawlings, in the full glare of the general public at Ghana's Independence Square. Ghana television commentator Edward Fachi was pleasantly surprised.
This is a very historic moment. J.A. Kufuor goes to congratulate President Rawlings, and there you see Mrs. Kufuor. President Rawlings shaking hands with Dr. Edward Mahama. And isn't this a wonderful moment? You can see Mr. J.A. Kufuor.
Destiny had fully come, and Mr. Kufuor and his team campaigned vigorously around the country. Eventually, he was elected as President of Ghana by a landslide in the second round of voting. Here is Mr. Kufuor in his first sessional address to Parliament, introduced to the House by the unforgettable Peter Ala Ajete, the then Speaker of Parliament.
In inviting His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana and Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces to deliver his message on the state of the nation.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, 5 weeks ago, on 7th January, year 2001, I appeared before you to swear the great oath to assume the high office of President of the Republic. Since then, I have been occupied with assembling the team which will assist me in the discharge of my mandate. With your cooperation, that task is now substantially complete.
Perhaps Mr. Kufuor is the first president under the Fourth Republic to have achieved major significant social interventions. The National Health Insurance Scheme was fully established in Ghana for the first time. The free compulsory universal basic education was implemented. The capitation grant and the school feeding program were all programs established under Mr. Kufuor. After serving 2 terms, the National Constitution debarred Mr. Kufuor from contesting. His party, the New Patriotic Party, therefore had to choose a new leader. On that auspicious occasion in 2007, Mr. Kufuor sounded significantly philosophical.
This party issues out of a tradition that is displaying attributes with a strong streak of spirituality. Seriously, there is an innate wisdom, shrewdness, and mystique that combine to hallmark this party as no ordinary party. It's truly a party of destiny. And I speak with some authority because I've come through the process and I know it.
Mr. Kufuor's desire to see his party and their candidate win the election was thwarted as Ghanaians voted for the rival party, the NDC. Mr. Kufuor showed high democratic skills in accepting the verdict when he addressed Parliament for the last time in 2008.
Naturally, Mr. Speaker, I had hoped that after my tenure, I would be succeeded by a candidate from my own political tradition. But as things stand, and have turned out, the Electoral Commissioner has declared that the electorate of Ghana has decided otherwise. As a Democrat, I acknowledge this declaration, and I therefore congratulate once more Professor John Evans Atta Mills on his election. Mr. Speaker, I should also congratulate the NPP flag bearer, Honorable Nana Dudankwa Akufo-Addo, who has acquitted himself with valor and the greatest sense of dignity in what is perhaps one of the closest and most keenly contested elections ever in the nation's political history.
In this interview, Mr. Kufuor explains why his party lost the election.
Unfortunately for us, we went into the 2008 election with some splits within our ranks. For instance, 18 of our members stood independent in parliamentary elections. Didn't help us. That didn't help us. If they hadn't done it, Nana Addo would have won one touch. Because even with all the splits on the count after the first round, he led by 49-point-something%. Needed only 23,000 votes to have won outrightly.
8 years later, Mr. Kufuor was back on the campaign trail to ensure that his party was re-elected to power. And as fate would have it, it must have been a proud moment for John Agyekum Kufuor while he watched his friend and contemporary, his former Attorney General and former Foreign Minister, take the oath of President, and Mr. Kufuor's former appointee at the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, take the oath as Vice President. At this stage, the historians will begin to write. The only small matter of a setback to Mr. Kufuor's administration will be the gruesome murder of the Yana Yakubu Andani under Mr. Kufuor's watch as President of Ghana and Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. All in all, history should judge Mr. Kufuor kindly. After all, he enhanced democracy and good governance. None of his appointees was found for corruption. He laid down the foundations of meaningful social interventions over an 8-year period. And he also set up the National Reconciliation Commission to reconcile our people towards a great future. And he accepted the narrowest of defeat even when his party did not win. This is what Mr. Kufuor said about himself in terms of legacy.
My abiding principle in life has always been to leave a place better than I found it.
In that regard, may we confer on John Agyekum Kufuor, the most distinguished constitutional statesman of Ghana. So, to J.A. Kufuor, we say, Aiko. Hello, good evening. Welcome to another edition of the show. What does it say? Cameraman, your 16 is cut off. 16 days to go for election 2024. 16 days to go. 7 is 1 week and then a little more. Tonight, welcome. For those of you who are looking for the date for the book launch, I have good news for you. We're going to show you the date is out and the book launch is ready. The date is out. The date is out. So you're going to show it's next week. So get ready for it. I'll give you the date when next week, and then we can deal with it. It's entitled Africa's New Constitutional Leadership, the 77 Stories That Defined Ghana's Fourth Republic. It's 514 pages, it's 130,000 words, and it captures the occurrences in Ghana's constitutional democracy since 1992, and it captures it in the epochs of Parliament's life. So it's divided into 8 chapters. Each chapter is one life of Parliament. So the first Parliament, the things that happen in Parliament, at the executive, at the judiciary, in the media, all of it covered into the 77 stories that defined Ghana's Fourth Republic. Excellent. All right, tonight we have a lot of action. So the concerns raised by civil society organizations and reasonably thinking people about the John Kufuor matter is big on our agenda tonight in terms of what the NDC communicators have said about him relating to the wheelchair, because the disabled people, one of them, has responded in a video that we're going to show to you in a minute. Tonight I'll be talking about the Common Fund Administrator. Her name is Irene Natoshi. She's doing something excellent in politics, and I'll be telling you about it. Of course, Irene is a former member of parliament, as you may know, for Tema West constituency. She's currently the Common Fund Administrator, but she's doing something truly amazing in the 2024's election. I'll be talking to you about that. Also, we will look at the research. That's our big story today. Where is it? Dr. Sam Sapon has come out with research that is that everyone is sharing their opinion on. The research favors the NPP, so of course the NDC are raising questions. Tonight, Dr. Sapon is coming into the studio, and we are going to raise questions with him as well. He is not predicting based on religion. He is not saying God has showed it to him. No. He says that he did his data analysis, his research. That is his life. He works with ISE. He's a researcher, and this is what he did. So we'll be talking about that. Can you give me the first page of Dr. Sapon's document? It's going to come in a minute. Do they have it? Oh, I heard the machine is frozen, so we'll be back. We will get that for you shortly. Also, we'll be talking about John Dramani Mahama. Excuse me. Just recovering from a cold. We'll be talking about John Dramani Mahama, and tonight his opponents are bringing up a document that they say was constructed as a result of the relationship between Mr. Mahama and the Russian oligarchs. Sometime in July this year, we know that John Dramani Mahama was in Russia, and the reason given to the media for his visit to Russia was to launch his book, My First Coup d'etat. That's the title of the book, My First Coup d'etat, published sometime in 2012 by John Dramani Mahama. It was said that it was translated into Russian, and so he had to be in Moscow, somewhere like that. But tonight, new information coming up from John Mahama's opponents, political opponents, suggests that there was more to the Russian visit by President John Dramani Mahama than just to launch a book. What have we done as a media house? We have gone behind the story to look at the personalities involved in the book launch in Russia. Who are they? What do they do in Russia? Is there anything about their business and their normal lives that suggests that perhaps they may have to be, they may be onto something untoward in an African country like Ghana? We're going to get you all the details. So we have dug, as in the past tense of dig, we have dug the history, the recent history of some of the people that John Mahama worked with, the Russian rich people, the oligarchs that John Mahama worked with when he was there to launch the book. And we're going to tell you today what is happening to them in their lives right now, who they are and what they do, and perhaps that will give a reasonable direction to what it is. We do not know yet whether the document that John Mahama's opponents are circulating is correct and authentic. For that reason, we may not show the document, but we have gone beyond the document story to look at the people inside the story. Who are they and what do they do? And then we'll share that with you in a minute. So all of that is coming up tonight. It's 6 minutes on top of the hour at 10 o'clock. This is Good Evening Ghana. 16 days to go for the election between John Dramani Mahama, the former president, who is taking a reclaim to the position of Ghanaian presidency, and Mahamudu Alhaji Dr. Bawumia, the vice president, who is insisting that it is possible for the NPP to break the 8. He's been quite successful on the campaign, and as far as we are concerned, with 16 days to go, we know who has won the campaign. Mahamudu Bawumia has won the campaign. Does it mean he'll win the election? We have to wait for 16 days to see what happens. 5 minutes to the top of the hour right now. I think they're still trying to set it up, so I will perhaps take a break now. How long is the break? Okay, they are setting up my system. It's frozen a bit. It happens every now and then. So give me a short time, 5 minutes. I'll be back, and then we can roll out the show. This is Good Evening Ghana. It's live. Thank you very much for joining us. Maybe I should introduce my social media people, and they say hi. Do you have something to read to us? Oh, you do? That's fantastic. Okay, they do. All right, let's hear you read some 3 messages each. Maybe by then, the screen is working. Anziba. Should I start with Anziba? Is that okay? Antoinette first. You prefer? Okay, Antoinette.
Okay, thank you very much, Paul. So we have a few viewers sending in their messages regarding what we have shown so far. Raymond Bedema says, actually, a party who is championing to break the 8 cannot tell us about achievement in the government, and they seem to plan nothing for the future. So Raymond isn't as much pleased with the NPP campaign.
Kyerematen, after watching the documentary, says this is actually quite nostalgic. It seems most people in President Kufuor's documentary are all dead. Alhaji Yusuf Husseini, lastly, he says, Dr. Bawumia has no limitations. He fits into all categories of modern leadership. He really had a tough NPP internal contest to be elected. We cannot allow the NDC, who think their party cannot find a replacement for John Mahama, by recycling him. Why are all the NDC members not part of John Mahama's campaign? But it seemed the same people who helped him fail were voted out of office in 2016. Kyerematen says Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is a solid block. He is winning the 7th December election. And lastly, Kweku Opoku says this about Dr. Bawumia. He says, I have followed and observed politics for quite some time, and I can say that Bawumia will win the elections and nothing can be changed. For the 4 elections in the Fourth Republic, significant change in terms of messages, policies, personality, character, Bawumia seems to be leading. He is a unifier, a peacemaker, a developer, and a great transformer. Bawumia is a great critical thinker and also has a brain. His logical reasoning is always on point. He possesses all the qualities of a good and great leader. He has a great vision for Ghana. And so Kweku Opon is beckoning on all Ghanaians to vote for Bawumia in the 2024 election.
All right, so we have Kofi Ewusi Mensah saying, seriously, I love what I'm watching. It's possible with Dr. Bawumia. Yeboah Samuel says, a great statesman. I know His Excellency John A. Kufuor. Amaudin is saying, Apostle Paul, good evening to you and the whole crew. Great show and keep it up. Ben Damoy is saying, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is a man on a mission. He's unstoppable, a gift from God, and a man of destiny. Hashtag, I choose Bawumia. Hashtag, votes number 1. From Henrietta, she says, Bawumia means business. Odati says, our next First Lady, Hajia Samira Bawumia. Ifo says, Alan exhibits a lack of gratitude and displays a tendency towards greed. Lastly, from God in Jima, he says, as a matter of fact, Apostle Paul has no science when it comes to political analysis. Thank you very much, Apostle Paul. Over to you, Paul.
Thank you very much, Azaba. And thankfully, our screen is working now. And let's start with Dr. Sam Sapon. Is that also? Yeah. Smart Sapon. Let's start with that. Okay, so tonight we're going to look at this research. Sorry, let me grab the... All right. Tonight we're going to look at this research, yeah? National Outlook, 4 weeks to election. Who wins 2024's elections? Evidence from science and data. Overall predicted performance, scenario 1. Turnout is estimated from this research to be 81.4%. That's what the turnout is going to be. Predicted to be on 16 days from now on December 7th. Now, this Dr. Smart Sapon is in the studio. We're going to talk to him about this. Our work tonight is to interrogate how he came by this conclusion. And so don't worry, if you doubt it, if you support the NDC and you doubt it, we are doubting with you. But let's finish talking to him and then we'll see whether our doubts are valid or that he will convince us that his research methods are sacrosanct, correct, and he did fidelity to science and data rather than voodooism or any other way of concocting these figures. All right, he predicts that Mahamudu Bawumia will get 49.1% of the total valid votes cast on December 7th, that John Dramani Mahama will come in a close second at 45.8%, that Nana Kwame Bediako will come in a distant third at 2.2%, and Alan Kyerematen will bring up the rear at 1.2%. Others, he says, altogether, ODK, others altogether will end up with 1.7%. Tonight, we're going to interrogate this. Also, we are talking about John Dramani Mahama, isn't it? Okay, a lot more of this. And I've already told you about the Russian oligarch situation that we'll be looking at. And then we have 8 days more to launch the big book. Our first effort at putting a document together in the form of a book. We did a few documentaries. Now we did a book. 8 days to go to the much anticipated book launch. Paul Adumotri's 77 stories that defined Ghana's Fourth Republic. Get ready for that. 8 days to go. for the launch. With that, I think I've told you the launch date, haven't I? Now, guess what? The launch date is 29th November. Guess what? Whose birthday is 29th November? John Dramani Mahama. Next week, Friday, we're going to be jamming big time. John Mahama's birthday is the same day that we obtained for the launch of our book. What an interesting scenario. Is there stories about John Mahama in this book? Obviously, obviously. Is John Mahama's photograph here? Very much there. All right, so a lot to say. Hey, let's get on with it. There's a slightly elderly man who I'm sure from watching social media and watching television became completely upset with the NDC communicator who threw the invectives on John Agyekum Kufuor and even said things he shouldn't say. And up till now, and correct me viewers if there's been any apology or there's been anything rendered by the NDC, up till now, and tonight I'm going to play the Budon video. And I will say that 48 hours after the video, the guy was dismissed from the NDC. And I said it before, up until now, this Hunto young man is completely insulted President Kufuor. They allowed them something, started. Then Hunto came. They completely insulted President Kufuor and said something they shouldn't say. It's not just about President Kufuor. It's an upset to the Ghanaian culture. And it's a total upset to the politics that we want for the future. Up until now, nobody has said anything. Now, nobody in the NDC has said anything about it. Now, this man, who is elderly, had this to say. Have a look.
Adam on XYZ TV. I want Adam and his NDC to know that disability is anybody's lot. Even if you die, your corpse is prone to disability until the corpse is dismantled by termites in your grave. For a communicator of a party that is seeking the mandate of Ghanaians to rule this country, to say this shameful statement means that when they come to power, they will relegate the persons with disability even below the barest minimum. This is against the UN Convention on Persons with Disability. This is very surprising, very disappointing, very unfortunate, very condemnable, and very unethical. We, the persons with disability, must rise up now.
Persons with disability must rise up now. Now, this is famous US President Franklin Roosevelt, who was, for the time that he was president, actually disabled and sat in a wheelchair. This is Roosevelt, I believe, with one of his grandchildren. Put a photograph up. This American President Franklin Roosevelt. I'm just telling Hunto, the NDC communicator, that there's nothing really wrong with these things. This is another very distinguished man, disabled, in a wheelchair. Here you are, Jimmy Carter, the former president of the United States, in a wheelchair. And so there's nothing wrong with people who grow and age, and as a result of that, they have to be in a wheelchair. There's nothing wrong with that. If God blesses you and you have the grace of God for strength, you may not be in a wheelchair, but that's entirely by the grace of God. But this young man sat in the studio and said the most horrendous things about the former president on the account that the former president had endorsed the candidate of his party. Hear him. This is the video we put up. We were going to put on social media earlier today. We couldn't do that. We'll do that tomorrow. But have a look at what this Hunto guy said about J. Kufuor, to which the guy, the old man who we showed, was talking about. Have a look. This is the most disrespectful political conversation I've ever seen all the several years that I've covered politics. This is the most distasteful. It's not just disrespectful, it's the most distasteful. Have a look. Listen to this. Listen.
And now TV chemwa, ye peja once, rock na WC so jawnano, ye we assassin so be good chemo. Still what company my NPP. See I can't be a Jimmy and Yakwa na Jimmy. Said ye wo Bakwasia Sunini. Said ye by Yansa Fonini bear penny Yansa Fon, Sana Bakwasia Sunini.
And Nekra will take wheelchair. I mean, what kind of politics is this? What kind of politics is this? And nobody from the National Democratic Congress is able to issue a statement. When Dr. Tabuatin, and please get the Pudon video for me, let me know when you have it. When Dr. Tabuatin came to define 24-hour economy in the most ridiculous terms, they fired him from the party within 24 hours. Sami Jemfi occasioned a dismissal from the party communications ranks of Dr. Tabuatin because he came to a television studio in Kumasi and he completely botched whatever 24-hour economy was intended to mean. Tabuatin said it's about rearing animals and something in Pudong in China, something completely horrendous. When Tabuatin said that, they fired him from the party. When this man speaks about John Kufuor in that manner, you don't fire him from the party. Nobody says anything. President John Dramani Mahama has said nothing. Vice presidential candidate Jenano Pokwajiman has said nothing. Chairman of the party, please get me their photographs. I'll use it at the end. President John Dramani Mahama, Vice Presidential Candidate Jenano Pokwajiman, Chairman of the party Johnson Asedun Katia, General Secretary of the party Fifi Kwete, National Communications and Propaganda Secretary John Samuel Jemfi, and Director of Communications Omani Bawumia, Joyce Bawa Motgari. Get me their photographs and let me question them on the touch screen. Is that the kind of politics you want your children to learn? Is that the kind of politics that Asedun Katia wants his children to learn? The politics of telling Kufuor that he sits on a wheelchair, they take him to the toilet, bring him back to the wheelchair, he should shut up and sit there. A two-term president of Ghana, a former spokesperson for foreign affairs, a two-term parliamentary member of parliament, two-time MP for Ghana, and a very distinguished leader, Alan Kyerematen himself, says that Kufuor has a distinguished career. The leader who solved our constitutional crisis problem of coup d'etat, because we didn't believe in Rawlings' stability because we thought he's a soldier, he has control over it. We thought that the real test of our stability is when we have a non-soldier in the seat, what will happen? John Kufuor was able to show us that. And to steer Ghana away from military coups, he did a clear 2 terms, handed over to the opposition. Such a man, Alote Jacobs, goes to Kufuor's house to go and beg him about the things they say. And in 2024 election, John Kufuor conducts an interview and says, I am endorsing my party's candidate, and this is what this guy says about him. Show the guy again. Let's look at it again.
And now TV chemo, ye peja once rock WC so jawnano, ye we assassin so be good chemo. Still what company my NPP. See I catch will be a Jimmy and Yakwana Jimmy. Sabi ye wo Bakwasian, Bakwasia Sunini. Said ye by Yansa phone in bear penny Yansa phone, Sana Bakwasia Sunini.
Mr. President, we are sorry about this. We are very, very sorry about this. We love you, we cherish you, we treasure you, we know what you've done for Ghana. We are completely embarrassed about this, and we are deeply, deeply sorry. But you feel sorry for Kufuor, and you feel sorry for the young man, and you feel like you want to ostracize him from the Ghanaian society and banish him from political communication ever in Ghana. But then you get even more worried, much, much more worried when you watch Alan Kyerematen, who is supposed to know it all, who is supposed to be much, much better. Listen to Alan Kyerematen's reaction to Kufuor's endorsement of his party's candidates. Listen. I have seen the Alan video. I was sad when I saw it because I know Alan Kyerematen. I know his relationship with John Kufuor. I know how much John Kufuor wanted to promote Alan Kyerematen. I know how much John Kufuor has endorsed Alan Kyerematen. There's no Alan Kyerematen without a John Kufuor. It is John Kufuor who promoted Alan Kyerematen. From the days of Empretech, it was John Kufuor who made Alan Kyerematen Ghana's ambassador to the United States at the turn of the century. That was significant. A new American government has come. The Republicans are taking over the White House again. The Republicans had not been in the White House since Clinton. And everything was changing in the world. Millennium Bug had come around. The year 2000 was exciting for everybody. We're in a new century. We're in a new epoch. Technology was coming big in the world. America was very, very important. Everything was happening in America. George W. Bush, the son of George Bush, had become president of the United States. America was in the middle of a war. They had done the Iraq war. Everything was was turning and America was in the middle. John Kufuor decided that I'm also new president of Ghana. John Kufuor was beginning to lead this new African renaissance of genuine democratic leaders himself. Chief Obasanjo, they were supported by Hosni Mubarak. Thabo Mbeki was in South Africa. Everything was great for Africa. In those circumstances, John Kufuor said Alan Kyerematen should go and be the ambassador in America. Alan Kyerematen went to be ambassador, but that's when people who didn't know him from Adisada Lachimota and family, all of us who didn't know him, that's when we heard about him. That, oh, Kufuor had appointed some brilliant young man to Washington to be our ambassador. He was in Washington, he wasn't quite happy with it, he wanted to come down. Again, Kufuor obliged. What did Kufuor do? Kufuor removed a stalwart in Parliament, Kofi Kunadu Apreku, member of Parliament who had been a stalwart of the NPP. He had been at the backside of, at the side of Professor Dubois to help him to work. And Apreku had been known in Ghana. Apreku was already a big name. Apreku was taken out of trade and Alan Kyerematen was given the job. Alan Kyerematen did the PSI, etc., etc. Not to say much about that. But in the year 2000's campaign, I was there. The NPP had to answer questions on PSI because the NDC was using it. That you did PSI and wasted money. Forget about all that. Then Alan Kyerematen was given significant support from Kufuor's castle in 2007. That's a dead story. Everybody knows that. The sitting president, John Agyekum Kufuor, was endorsing a candidate in his party. Something that he shouldn't do. In fact, he didn't even do it publicly. But he did it behind the scenes. Water has gone under the bridge. So we now all know what happened. But John Kufuor supported Alan behind the scenes because he's such a quintessential Democrat. He didn't want it to be obvious. He spoke to Akufo-Addo people as well, but everyone knew that Alan's campaign had been oiled by Kojo Mpianim. Kojo Mpianim, who is Kufuor's chief of staff, continues to speak for Alan. So there's no Alan Kyerematen without J.A. Kufuor. Alan is nothing without J.A. Kufuor. Today, listen to what Alan Kyerematen says about John Agyekum Kufuor. I'm completely shocked. Why? Does Kufuor own Alan Kyerematen? Is Kufuor for Alan Kyerematen? Is that Alan Kyerematen's property? I don't understand it. Is John Kufuor Alan Kyerematen's property? Is that his property? I don't get it. How can you be unhappy because the leader of the NPP has endorsed the NPP candidates? Is that not natural? And they're asking Kufuor to keep quiet. Alan Kyerematen, what are you talking about? When you were running for presidential aspirant against Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, everybody knew that John Kufuor was supporting you. Nobody said anything because Kufuor has a right to choose who he supports in the party. That's the spirit of the NPP as I've seen it. They allow you to support whoever you want to support. People knew that Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was supporting Mahamudu Bawumia. He didn't do it obvious. He didn't cut anybody's head. But he gave his support however he could to Alhaji Bawumia because he felt that if he is a delegate, he's going to vote Bawumia. Kufuor felt that if he's a delegate, he thought Alan Kyerematen is better. So how can Alan Kyerematen come today when there was an internal party contest where every party leader must remain neutral? It was clear that John Kufuor was backing Alan. Alan didn't find anything wrong with that. Alan finds something wrong with the NPP president. Kufuor had been delivered by the NPP to be president of Ghana. Without the NPP, Kufuor would not have been president of Ghana. Kufuor is a founding member of the NPP. Kufuor has been a founding member of the NPP since the NLM. And the NPP has a candidate for an election that looks like a difficult election. And John Kufuor comes out to endorse his party candidate, and Alan Kyerematen is attacking him. And Alan Kyerematen joins the ranks of the NDC. I was going to use a word for them, but I can't use it. Listen to this. Listen.
No, Bawumia no nim da ben okofa ni free wonim Bawumia eduma ben na Bawumia ya it work say he's the best person for you. I'm challenging President Kufuor. Say what eduma ben na tie say I na me say on na kofa no ba here. Ana me bua. Dia eduma na Bawumia, dia eduma na Bawumia eye before.
You heard it. You heard it. I don't understand, but perhaps we'll get an answer sometime later on. Hello, Second Lady Samira Bawumia, the aspiring First Lady. I've been watching the campaign, viewers. I mean, we have already concluded that on the basis of what we have seen, Mahamudu Bawumia has won the campaign. There's no doubt about it. Mahamudu Bawumia has won the campaign. He's been everywhere. Just recently, he's completed 47 constituencies in Ashanti. He's coming to do the rest. He's done all the 275 constituencies. He stays there for long. He has so much energy. He goes to the nook and crannies talking to the people. We show the photographs here. Former President John Mahama has also been campaigning. But we have not seen Lordina Mahama on the campaign. Have you seen Lordina Mahama on the campaign? I saw Lordina Mahama on the campaign in 2008. I saw her in 2012. I saw her in 2016. Even 2020, she did quite a bit. This 2024, I don't know. Maybe I've not seen the photographs. Please send me the photographs. I just saw her inaugurate a school or something like that about 10 days ago on social media. I've not seen Lordina Mahama campaigning. Maybe she's doing it and we haven't seen it. But I don't know. Viewers, if you have seen it, send me a text. I said, oh, she's campaigning. She was in Kintampo the other day. That's where she's from. So I'm just using Kintampo. She was in Damango the other day. That's where her husband is from. So I'm just using that. She was in Ashanti the other day because she lived there as well. So where is our mother, Lordina Mahama, the former First Lady? Is she campaigning? We would like to see and share with our people some of her campaign photographs. Now, though, let's look at Hajia Samira Bawumia. There she is. You will be the First Lady, inshallah. Somebody, this is late night. The people actually look tired, but they were waiting. Wow. There she is, greeting the chiefs and the community leaders late in the night. I don't know why these campaigns go on to so late in the night. Samira Bawumia meeting community leaders. She's going to the Fulani areas. She's going to the Muslim areas. She's going to the areas with women and children, and she's pumping the message of breaking the 8, DMB, free SHS, digitalization, capitation grant, thinking for people, working for people, and making it happen for people. Samira Bawumia is campaigning earnestly for her husband. These are some of the photographs that excite me. Look at this. Look at this middle-aged woman. Look at how excited she is. This has to be natural. Can you fake this? Wow. Oh, she has a cloth that says Nana Akufo-Addo. Have you seen that? NPP all the way. This woman looks like an NPP stalwart. I'm sure she's the Council of Elders chairman of the NPP in the community. She's so happy to see Samira Bawumia. I think this is awesome. This is truly awesome. 2024's campaign has been great. And I saw another video that I was going to send it to Kwesi Pratt. You know why? Because Kwesi Pratt and I share a similar view on this peace industry people. Whenever there's elections, they come and they say, peace industry, peace, we are doing peace. There's no peace to do. The peace is already here. I saw a video where an NPP car was going through a community. And then the NDC people were also campaigning. So they were holding the NDC flag and they saw the NPP car. And the guy was honking at them so that they can give him space to go. And they didn't listen. They jumped onto the NPP car. They were swinging their flag. The driver in the car was smiling. The NPP guys in the car were smiling and said, you people get down, let us go and do our campaign. And they said they won't let them go, and they were showing them the NDC flag. And it's beautiful. I sent it to my producer. I'll get it for you. So please, those of you, Dr. Akwete and co, please, we don't want any peace noise. We don't want any noise. Peace. There is peace. There will be peace. We have done this for 32 years. I have outlined all the 32 years in this, my book that is coming out. We don't want you to come and create any peace and come to some companies that you are looking for sponsorship for some peace, anything. There's no peace fight. No war. We are running elections. When we finish, somebody, oh, great, that's the video. Thank you very much. That's the video. Viewers, you see, NPP cow and NDC people are just jubilating around it. The driver is smiling. You see what they are doing? They are on the car. They are enjoying themselves. They are jubilating. There is no war in Ghana. Please tell Dr. Akwete that there's no war in Ghana. CDD, IDEC, Imani. There's no war in Ghana. We are not doing any peace. We are going to vote. After that, we will go home. This NPP car, NDC people are sitting on it. NPP car passing through NDC. Nobody threw stone. Everybody is playing music and enjoying themselves. Dr. Akwete, we don't want any peace, anything. Please leave us alone. We are going to election. Don't bring any peace thing and come and tell us that Asante Hini should come to KNUST and they do some ceremony. Political parties should come and sign. We won't sign anything. We are going to vote, and that's the end of the matter. After that, we'll have a president, we'll have a vice president, we'll have a speaker of parliament. Our society will continue. 4 years' time, 2028, we will come. We will vote again. We won't do any peace. So please, I will tell the Otunfo people, if they bring an invitation, Otunfo will not attend. We are not going to do warmongering. There is peace in Ghana. Please, leave it like that. Peace. Don't come and tell us. Dr. Akwete, CDD, IDEC, Imani, which one? IEA, all of them, tell them we won't do any peace, anything. There's no warmongering we are going to tolerate in this election. Kwesi Pratt and I fought them in 2012. They are still doing it.
As far back as 2012, since 2012, we've done 16 and we've done 20. In 2012, Kwesi Pratt was worried that what is this peace thing? This every day we are going to election and they are doing warmongering. There should be peace. So if you want to do peace, do what Fifi Boafo and his people are doing. I'll be attending that event. They are doing a prayer session. I think it's this Friday somewhere. Fifi Boafo, you know him, the Christocentric guy. I listen to him at dawn. You know, I'm always awake late in the night. So at 4 a.m. on Joy FM, Pastor Kojo Frimpong is gone. Fifi Boafo comes, and he's the Christocentric guy. He and his people are organizing some prayer meeting. That's great. That is fantastic. I will attend it. But this peace, civil society peace, we should come to some room and they put flag and they spend a lot of money. We shall not do it. Please, we don't have any. If you want peace, pray. Just go and pray. We are all going to pray. We'll pray for peace. The good Lord, he said that if one person, if he told Abraham that if I can get one man, I will heal the land. So only you, because of only you, God will heal the land. So go and pray. Don't come and do peace. All right. My matter has ended. Samira Bawumia is still turning out the numbers for her husband and the NPP. And she is doing a lot of campaigns. So my concern about this Samira campaign was to ask that, where is her mother, Lordina Mahama? I know Lordina quite well. And those of you who know that she's a very pleasant person. So Lordina Mahama, we are waiting to see her campaign efforts. It's 16 days to go. Perhaps she's going to start and she's going to knock out the last 15 days in a big way. But we would like to see how she's doing. We hope that she's doing well. This is my photograph of the evening from the Samira Bawumia campaign. I don't know who this lady is. Sometimes I put people on and I get into town and they tell me that, oh, that was my auntie, that was my mother. Please, if this is your mother, your auntie, tell her that I love her like something. Wow, I love her enthusiasm. But this woman is not a neutral. She's an NPP blue blood. But she's so excited to see Samira Bawumia. That's the beauty of politics. And I like her cloth. Nana Akufo-Addo, NPP all the way. Wow. People can support political parties the same way people support Manchester United. Has the guy come, Ruben? Has he come? He has arrived at Old Trafford. Sunday, we will win and play well. Is he going to play the 3-5-2 something? Okay, let me leave it here. 10:23, I have to go. All right, let's get to another woman I need to speak to you about. This is Irene Natoshi. Please, viewers, if the NPP wins this election in Greater Accra and all the other places, I think that we must give her a huge percentage of the... Do you know what she's doing? I mean, when she told me, I was completely amazed. So last week, I was driving by the Ministry of Communication. Those of you know where it is. I wanted to go and see Madame Eslau. So you know she's my good friend. But they told me she wasn't there. So I said, okay, let me pass through Common Fund Administration. You know, that's just across the street. And I was hoping that, as we call her, Sister Irene will not be busy. So I went there. I said, oh, she just came up. So you hurry up, otherwise she starts meeting. I said, tell her I'm here. I went in, we started screaming, say, hey, Mr. Good Evening, Ghana. I said, Sister Irene. Then she told me what she was doing. Do you know what she does? She is taking care of widows all over the country, community. She had a list. I met some people in her office. They had a long list, more than 3,000 people. And I said, Sister Irene, now they say, widows, no? Ma'am, I'm dealing with the widows. So I deal with them here. She was going to tell me that I'm telling her strategy to the world. But I was just amazed that a politician sits in her office in Accra and she tells herself that because I'm a woman, what can I do for this campaign? Let me deal with widows, children. Thankfully, she said free SHS is major. So they're not asking for school fees at secondary school level. But other things they're asking for, she's dealing with women from all walks of life. Kaya, thankfully, the Kayas, a lot of them now have a place to stay in Medina. Those who are left who don't have a place to stay, Irene is looking after them. Irene is looking after widows. Irene is such a thorough party person. And she has so much empathy for people. You go to a house in Sakumono, every day the Tema West people are there. The support she's giving to the Tema West MP, it's amazing. Now, watch these photographs. Irene Natoshi went to Adenta to support our darling Cozy. Watch these photographs. Oh, that's Cozy. Yeah, Cozy Champions League. You remember that? The one that Shatawale attended. Hey, Cozy, how are you? Now, look at this. This is the team that Irene Natoshi was supporting in Adenta. I think she went there to support Cozy. My goodness. And, you know, Irene, because of her crusade things, anytime she goes there, she sings the worship song. She likes singing worship song. She taught me that song. My Lord is the rock for me. He does my things for me. I put my trust in him. Oh, I know that Jesus is my Savior. Irene taught me that song. I'm sure that's what they are singing. Can you imagine? I said, hey, this politics is serious. So she spends a lot of time with these women in every constituency. And she's hoping that they would elect Muhammadu Bawumia and is telling them to do so. I mean, this is serious campaigning. You see, they are all women. And, didn't I say it? The pastor is, I mean, there's no Irene Atoshi campaign without a pastor. The Lord is the rock for me. He does my things for me. I put my trust in him. And I know that Jesus is my Savior. Look at the woman. This is what she did in Adent. Oh, my goodness. Hey, this photograph is competing with the other one. See, look at how they... And you see, they are not wearing NPP colors or anything. No. Irene is ministering to them as women, telling them how they can make things better. Of course, she's telling them to vote for Muhammadu Bawumia. But look at this. Look at how this woman is excited. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, that's Sister Irene. I think that you should clap for her in your heart. That's Sister Irene. It looks like she's even singing. There's a photograph, so I don't know. She has staff for the widows. And she doesn't do this only campaign time. Oh. She does it throughout the 4-year period. Throughout the 4-year period, Irene Atoshi is talking to young women. See, look at this. Look at this. This was in Adenta. And I can tell you, Irene Atoshi has been doing this across everywhere. Oh. She goes with her team, her people. Sometimes she goes and they do performances, like a small drama group, and they perform for them, gives them hope, gives them encouragement. This JSS placement, she was sitting at Ministry of Education, trying hard to get the widows and their children in. I mean, let's wait for the results of the election. It will teach us a lot. The results of the election. You know, when the American results came, it taught them a lot. Everybody learned their lesson. Let's wait for the results of the election. We will all learn our lessons. People tell me that, hey, Paul Adomachi program, the Osha Upekas MPP be win you, Upekas NDC benya 0. Okay, I don't know what MPP will get. I don't know what NDC will get. But the man who knows is right here with me. And now we are going to Dr. Smart Sapong to tell us why he's making such a prediction. Before then, though, let me take 2 messages each from our 2 social media people today. Anziba first, they say. Anziba, what are they saying?
Thank you very much, Paul. Our first message is coming from Francis Boahin. He says, Paul, your contribution can make a difference to our communities. Keep it up. Lastly, we have so many people saying vote number 1. We have Khalid Isa Yahaya saying vote number 1. Aminu is saying Dr. Bawumia all the way. And Nana Wusu is saying that he can't wait to see Prof. Sapong on the show. Over to you, Antoinette.
Yes, so quite a number of people are displeased with how the NDC communicator described the ex-president. Zach Theo, I think it's Zach Theo, he says that, Paul, there is actually a more distasteful aspect of the video that you are not mentioning. I don't know if you really understand Chi or not. The guy is actually saying that ex-president Kufuor is a fool, and he said just as a wise child grows up to be a wise man, same as a foolish boy grows up to be a foolish man. I'm actually super ashamed to be a Ghanaian. Do you actually need to say this to an octogenarian? This is not good at all. Prince Henry says Paul should stop showing that video, because the more you show it, the more curses goes to the person that said that. Everyone is actually praying for long life in Ghana, but here in this country, because of party politics and the lack of respect for the elderly, generation of today seem to see old age as a curse, which is actually not supposed to be so. Now, Shadrach Ainchi Owari says, I watched a documentary about Dr. Bawumia, and I must say that I love it so much. Alan should actually know that President Kufuor knew Bawumia even before appointing him, Alan, as his deputy BOG. He knew he can deliver, and so he did. This is why he endorsed Dr. Bawumia. And lastly, Nana Jomo Kwabena Ajeman, he says, ex-President Kufuor in his wheelchair actually is still far greater and better than the whole generation of this man who is insulting him. This is not good at all. Now back to you, Paul.
Okay, yes. We want to introduce Dr. Smasapon now, just before we take the break and come back to his full analysis. Doc, good evening.
Yes,
welcome. You have become the superstar on social media. The NDC people said you go to hell.
Hey, wow.
So what's your background, Doc?
That's too much. Yeah, so I am a professor of statistics, and I specialize in research design and data analytics. So I'm a pure statistician.
So your first degree is what?
Mathematics and statistics.
Legon?
UCC.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Mathematics and statistics.
Yeah.
That's your first degree.
Yeah.
And your master's is what?
My master's is applied statistics, and my PhD is pure statistics.
And you were at ISE?
Yes, I worked
So
there.
everything you have said is true? As in, that's what the science and the data produced?
Absolutely. That's what you
Can we see the
do.
first page of it, and then we can take the break, come back and deal with it? Do we have the first page, please? Yes. So, Doc, this is your first page. So, does that mean that you are predicting a second round?
No, not really. This is us at 4 weeks to election. This is us at 4 weeks to election. And I want to believe that the parties will work very hard
To change it?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you know when we have to go for...
This data is coming out 4 weeks to election?
Yes.
So when you say Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia is getting 49.1%,
yes.
You are predicting a second round?
I'm not predicting a second round. I'm giving them the situation as the 16th of November, and that if hard work goes into it, you know, I'm not sure even them as the political stakeholders, NPP and NDC major, would want to go through the stress of a second round.
Yeah.
So I just wish that this result will not be concluded to mean we are bound for a second round. I rather want to challenge them.
But then you are challenging more the NPP because they are close to 50. NDC is 43.
Yes.
According to what you say.
Absolutely.
Okay. 45.8, yes.
And for me, it is not a gap that cannot be closed.
In 4 weeks.
Oh, you know, one day you showed the video of Chief Alan.
Yes.
Do you know by this comment, some key leading members of his party have decided to pull off the yellow?
His party?
Yeah.
Are you serious about that?
There was some form of press conference in Kumasi.
Kumasi?
If the people do not mean it, I also don't mean it. But those who organized the press conference, if they meant it.
What did they say?
Oh, they said, I mean, he has to come and apologize and retract those comments. Else they may also change their mind.
And vote for who?
And they will just change their mind following him. And that means that there are going to be some changes in the numbers of Chief Alan, if what they said.
We have an interesting show coming up. Viewers, this is going to be interesting. Dr. Sapon is going to walk us through how he came to the conclusion. We also don't believe him, so trust us. We also don't believe him. We're going to interrogate him. At the end of the day, if he convinces us, we will be convinced. But we are not taking a hardline position. For now, we don't believe him. Let's see what he says. If it's reasonable, then we'll come and believe him. If it's not reasonable, we'll shame him. NDC people say that Dr. Sapon will go to hell. He says that's a bit too much. That's not how politics is done. But this is how they do politics. If they can ask Kufuor to, I don't want to say. After the break, we'll be right back. This is Good Evening Ghana. Don't go anywhere. Tell your friends to come. The research that came today, we are punching holes into it. Left, right, center, and forward. We'll be right back, and it's live.
There's nothing worse than your multi-bet missing, but nothing better than having it saved. Bet Saver.
Hello, my name is Ganaba. I am 21 years old and voting on Saturday, December 7th. And I have a few questions for former President John Mahama, who is standing again. Dr. Bawumia, as Vice President, gave Ghana the mobile interoperability we are enjoying today, but for only $4.5 million. Why did you award the same contract to your friend, Roland Agambri, for $1.2 billion in 2016? Why in December 2016, after you lost the election, you gave to your brother almost all of Ghana's bauxite resources, estimated to be over $10 billion. Why did your boss, the late President Atamos, place you under investigation when you were his vice president? Why did you accept a fraud expedition bribe from a Burkina Faso contractor? Why did American French and British police and investigators identify you as government official 1 in the $5 million Airbus purchase bribery scandal involving another of your brothers. Why is it that when you were asked in a BBC interview whether you had ever taken bribes, you answered as a human being? Why have you been identified by international investigators as the NDC presidential candidate who was paid $80 million in 2016 for selling 65% of a Tema oil refinery assets to a Southern African company before you left office? The Guinea files you spent millions to buy all flew away to Burkina Faso. What will happen to the Nkoko Kitinkiti you are promising this time? If you did not care about accountability when you knew you would go for a second term in 2016, how much more now when there will be no second term after 2028? Character matters. Integrity matters. Do not vote for a leader who, when he had his chance, he blew it.
On December 7th, let's vote number 1. Let's vote for Dr. Bawumia. Estroho.
Fire promoting near Gubi. Ghana Fueniaji. If you say, ya, your local spices, na ya fradia, ya sankofa natural spice. Me de gummy jollof fumu. Name is still a hooduma. Emanate dance.
Stanley, the barbecue, the go on.
Sankofa natural spices. And one you use 100% natural.
Adofo, mamunye huge mistake. Sankofa natural spices. Didi.
FDIG ejedi nkratu yatu.
Who are you? Who are you? Charlie, I'll be you from the future. Who doesn't sleep on that slice of bready for mattress anymore? Don't some slippers then follow me. It is part of the mattress we did it from there. Yeah? That be the mattress where the dead go. Wait, what are you doing? Wow! No damage at all. Not only durable, but also super comfortable. Come on, try it.
Nothing day like ash foam. Enjoy full body support and unparalleled comfort for a restful sleep.
Don't forget your keys.
Get the premium sleep experience with mattresses from Ash Foam. Visit any of our showrooms nationwide or at ashfoam.com. Fellow countrymen and women, the desperate NPP, realizing that they are losing the 2024 elections, has once again resorted to lies to smear the nation builder, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. The NPP's claim that Mahama was against free SHS and will cancel it when elected is nothing but a barefaced lie calculated to deceive you. John Mahama started the implementation of the progressively free SHS program in 2015 with day students and had a clear plan to expand the program to cover borders, hence cannot be said to be against free SHS. What he has been against is the poor implementation of the program. Contrary to the lies of the NPP, the next NDC Mahama government will improve the implementation of the free SHS program to make it better. We will do this by scrapping the double track system, provide a dedicated source of funding for the program, include private SHS, improve the feeding of our children, and enhance the quality of learning outcomes. Listen to the truth from the horse's own mouth.
Free senior high school education has come to stay. If anybody tells you that I, John Dramani Mahama, son of E.A. Mahama, will abolish free SHS when I come, tell the person he's a bloody liar. What I'm against is the poor implementation of the free SHS, which is creating great inconvenience for the parents, for the students, and for the teachers. And one of the things we'll do when we come back into office, and I know inshallah we're coming back into office, is to complete the 200 community day schools that we began, so that we can bring a quick end to the double track system.
Beware of the NPP's lies. Vote for change. Vote for John Mahama and the NDC.
One choice, multiple styles. All big, all unique.
Hey, what's up?
How far with your internship?
To be honest, I'm so nervous about starting this new role on Monday.
Oh, please. I know you'll be great at it. You should be worried about what benefits they have. Example, do they have health insurance?
I doubt they will have that for internet. But no shaking. I have NHIS already.
Actually, I'm on a line.
Ina, look at you. What are you going to do in the office when you can just download the app to register for an NHIS membership?
Yes, my people. You heard right. You can now download and register your membership on my NHIS app. No long queues or tedious paperwork. All you need is your Ghana card to register for yourself and for others. Once you register, you get a new digital NHIS card on your phone. My NHIS app gives you access to credentialed health facilities and services across the country. NHIS covers over 95% of disease conditions in Ghana. Access to healthcare just got easier.
Now let me sign up quickly. Please, Seth, I'm starting work next month.
Remember the dark days of Dumso under Mahama's administration? Vital surgeries halted. Dumso killed many people and will kill many more if we do not vote wisely. Dumso destroyed many businesses and will destroy more if we do not vote wisely. Businesses suffered irreparable losses. Dumso disrupted family life and will do more if we do not vote wisely. Student studies disrupted. NPP's era has seen stable power supply. Never again should we return to Dumso. Let's keep the lights on. Vote wisely.
Esuro. Vote number 1 on the ballot.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere.
8K. Hey, you get an 8K. Get a packing from your one lie. Hey, wait.
You can put it on his tab. This is my man.
Good luck. We'll build radio. We have star 712. It's much phone. I'm on dialing the magic numbers. Star 712. Now welcome to the luckiest. And now with me at home ticket. You can buy for yourself or your loved one.
Mommy, tell mommy who's here.
You're buying for me, right?
Or who else?
Oh.
Let's choose buy tickets for others.
Love you, boo boo.
Maybe straight to option 4. Now we try. You need to buy tickets worth 50 Ghana to qualify. Yes, you can buy random or preferred tickets. I'm choosing random tickets. Listen, if you buy the random ticket, the system chooses a random number for you. But if you buy the preferred, you get to input your own preferred 5 digits. 5.
Baby, give me your 5 numbers.
And how much are we buying?
Babe, look at the body and buy you.
With your body,
Hey,
never. Tread cautiously. Now follow the prompts and confirm. Now the luckiest.
The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. TNCs apply.
Mahama once said,
have you been offered a bribe before?
As a human being?
As a person?
Any human being in the world would have encountered, corruption in a way, one way or the other.
Dadanoa. On December 7th, vote for integrity, competency, and development. Esuro.
Ago Ghana within some defi kwa adwumakuo nkyɛn ɛma mo yɛde kwa mixture baaye mo gyi to mu kama afei yɛde foforo aba kwa plus mixture ɛna kwa empty mixture kwa mixture ɛboa ama onipadua nya hoɔden no na kwa plus mixture nso ɛboa immune system fa kwa mixture ɛne kwa plus mixture fa boa wapɔmɔden afei nso yɛde malaria dro tatahwe abedwa so ne din de kwa empty mixture kwa mixture, kwa plus mixture, any kwa empty mixture, enye ma pemfo, emma omu ma kola nufo, any kola, umundi mfie dumienu. Shese, why a test? I chese o malaria mo wanu bi e wo mujemu. Ansa na wafa kwa empty mixture. Upedudu etua. Fre kwa ejumekuo no ewo 0244 726611 ana 059 165 5778. FDA aji egredient kratui atu.
Here's Kwame and Yao. After hours of planning, both have locked in the same perfect multi-bet. Big win for United, over 1.5. And both teams to score in the London Derby. But who could have picked Leicester over City? Or a high-scoring game at the Bridge? There's nothing worse than having your perfect multi-bet missing. But there's nothing better than having it saved. Bet Saver. Win, even if your bet misses.
Fire pomudi ni agobi Ghana fu ni age efi say ya your local spices na ya frafra dia ya sankofa natural spice me dey go me jollof mu ni me still ahodoma emanate dance
Stanley the barbecue the go on
Sankofa natural spices and one you use 100% natural. Adofo, mamunye huge mistake. Sankofa natural spices. The
FDA ejedi nkratu yatu.
Just look for the umbrella. The umbrella. Bahama and the umbrella.
24-hour economy. December 7th. I can't wait. Oh, meet to meet Shane.
As for me, meet Tima Kusimama. Hey, landlord. What the rent lover? And yes, I'm mistaken. Da. Ya do ballot paper number 1. Adia ba ku pe na wo hwe. Chiniano. Oh, Samu. Na pepe. Eye chiniano. Eye aketaniano. We chiniano be nkum so no. Wo be hu mama picture wo. Ni nifa so no. Box bi ho. Fa wo kokromoti tim sa box ne nkwemu. Edem biom na menye. Hwese wo ba pepa wo nsa wo clean. And so we so ballot paper no mu.
Senior beya. Ink no. Ink kemu ense wa ba no.
Sa pepe pemunu ba. Nese ko be se wo to aba na wo se no a. Wo ho kwan se wo kwaje foforo na wo betu ne yie. You want to engulf me in catastrophic quagmire? Who pass mama me? Only me tell what started to aba. Say you me to aba ma Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. And can 1960 about one or maybe cut off. Hey, Lord. And I won't say that. So what to aba na se wo se na. Wo ho kwan se wo kwaje foforo na wo betu ne yie. Maintain that. And now what say? Empo nkokora emberwa ayarefo sabi omo madi dem ene obi a onhu ade yie. So wo obi a wedi 18 years and above a wodi ne dia. Wo betu me de na kan ho na wakoboa wo ma wato wa be ne yie. Sir. Irrefutably simple. Thank you for this enlightenment. My torrent na so. Kayo, na to wa be yie ma John Mahama. For wo kokro mo titim box no a. E wo chinye ni champion.
Vote right for John Mahama.
There's nothing worse than your multi-bet missing. But nothing better than having it saved. Bet Saver.
In the
Welcome back to the show. Thank you very much for your time. It's always a pleasure coming to you, isn't it? Yes. Now, Professor Smart Sapon is ready to give us the filler. Prof, shall we go to the touch screen and do that?
That's fine.
So that we can see. Producer, open up the camera. People need to see him here. Let's get to the touch screen and do that. Whilst we are transitioning from our table to the touch screen, I'd like to remind you of the lions and the giraffes who will benefit from the 24-hour economy. Dr. Atabuati, have a look.
The 24-hour economy, mama and papa and mom titifie, mom yen and moi. John Dramani Mahama said what the modern farming techniques and the deba. It's under animal farming. I will call a bit to say Pudon or China. We'll call her. Animal farming, wouldn't say Jatani Mwaka see elephant near the gum egu farm numbi. And you wouldn't mean Cosset or Quaco do and I said, oh, what could be any. It would set up plantation in the BBA, we are no jam one agum. Not jam one guma, obey here almost swap. What would the plain ever Fabium, no mas as ever and one in any other. Not proud to that, no. What training expert for our muso ebeshem choir a friend say omo ebeshem wano so bobi area a bit my one pioneer near the other. Nasanyuma way in an air baswa, a bebwama or more we are Greek, a waggy care, KNUST, Legon. Woman, be Juma ye.
With all that we are saying, I'm quite confused.
Okay.
I'm confused. I'm confused and I say, animal really no say animal farming no sa jatani winning in no benefits.
Yeah, yes. Reason is my tourist attraction.
Okay, good.
Because Ukopudon.
Now more of tourism than say animal
number. And one Nakasano, who bet me I export to be.
Okay.
Who export to Nesicano air day, and your money corner.
Okay.
Not $1 dollars neighbor, and Bebo Sikasama a day, Edgina.
Okay.
Proud to that, no. They will make it a exportation. Movement, however, why you say, would in your money be corner? Not the corner, would you corner, who be your dollars number. Dollars bar, because country Biana, what can your mom more than your export to Biano? Country na ho de e ba fo and na Dr. Bawumia ba ya went me anya wa ma ho chaba eti wo mom we extension officers ni ade ni nyina no won benya adwuma ye wo mom ye ayi for machinery for no a ye beto wo offensive land ni nyina omuso benya adwuma ye proud to that Dr. Bawumia e ba ya o ka say obey one district one factory went me and he was John Dramani Mahama say under one district one factory no wo no de obey be embark on agro.
Sorry that I'm reminding you of the 16 days to go, but I didn't say it. Dr. Tabwati said it. Okay. Has that impacted on this? I don't know. But yes, thank you very much. So this is Bawumia and John Dramani Mahama. This election is about them. Yeah. So how did you set out to do this research?
Right. So very good evening to our cherished viewers. I have been teaching until 2014 when I took interest in elections research. I was motivated by the fact that there were some researchers in those times. And I was curious. I just wanted to find out whether what they do were due to chance or it was actually scientific.
Which year was this?
2014.
14,
coming towards 2016 election. Yeah. So I just tried based on what others said. So if anybody had predicted something about a certain constituency, I just tried go to that constituency to have a data, put it down to see whether the actuals will confirm. And then I map what I have against what those days, those who were on top of the prediction business. So I tried 1 and 2 and I realized that mine sometimes gets closer accuracy
than theirs.
Higher accuracy.
But you were not publishing yours?
Not at all.
Okay.
So my first national was the 2020 elections. 2020 elections was my very first national. Else, around that time I was doing minor ones, but the first ever national prediction was in 2020. And I predicted, if you can remember, 51.4 for the NPP, a one-time 51.4 victory for the NPP. The final actuals that came were 51.3 or so. And then for the NDC, I predicted 47.3. And then the actuals that came was around 47.3 or 47.6 thereabouts. I had a lot of attacks around that time because on the side of the NPP, they felt they had done a lot not to deserve that 51.
So they thought they were going to get more, 53, 54.
More. In fact, some even told me they were going to get 56. Where from this? Attacks, left, right, center. Then I had friends, very useful friends in NDC who also came at me that, this one that they are winning hands down. This ones that they are winning hands down, what is it that I'm saying? In fact, the same thing that I was told 4 years ago, somebody has sent a similar thing to me right now.
What did they say?
My very, very good friend, Kwame Zu, who was then the secretary to the NPP in Ashanti. We were on the same staff. We all teach at Kumasi Technical University. Immediately, I dropped my research report. He sent me a message that, my brother, don't forget tithe is still 10% too.
Tithe?
Tithe is
what
still
does that mean?
That means I have gone for some money and that he was coming for his share because he felt that the report was just money-induced report. They did nothing about it. In fact, both the NPP and the NDC actually did not regard the report I put out until the reality came. In between that, if you follow the news, from regional elections to constituency level elections to any election that I had time and I took interest in and I published the report, you realize that the accuracy level, the least I've had so far, is 99.6. In fact, the recent one...
That is the difference between your outcomes and the actual.
Yes.
Is 99.6.
99.6.
Okay, so that your outcomes turn up to be 99.6% of what actually happens, the accuracy level.
Level.
Okay, so you are missing it by just a few percentage points.
Yes,
and it's mathematical, so you may not get the exact figure.
Definitely.
And it's about human beings,
oh,
so
definitely.
things can change.
And no researcher even seeks to have
get
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What we do not allow is the margins to be extremely wide. Then it means your science was quite.
But tonight I want to ask you more questions about how you come about it, because we know Professor Lichman, you know him, the American guy who just got the prediction wrong for the first time.
Yes.
And I'm very disappointed that I'm not an American journalist, because I would have made a lot of money. Because in all my interviews, I said that he's getting one of the keys wrong, the recession. He's answering the recession as no recession.
Absolutely.
And I was saying that the real point about the recession in there is to see whether it's impacting the lives of the people. The lives of Americans is that the economy is bad. So if you say there's no recession, you are probably getting it wrong. Then the other one was the candidate challenged. And my view was that you can't call Kamala Harris an unchallenged candidate, but he did. And if he had gotten those two the way it should be, he would have gotten the prediction right. He would have said Trump will win, because 7 for the ruling party, they win. Less than 7, they lose. So I'm going to ask you now that, how do you come to your conclusions? Let's get the next page. And then after that, I'm going to ask you, what do people... No, I mean the page about the document, how the... Yeah, thank you. After this, I'm going to ask you what were the issues people were looking for before I come to the outcome. Okay, so this is, say, so you had gender here. Let me expand it a little bit so people can see. So you have here gender, male and female. What is frequency? What does it mean?
The counts. So altogether, 99,335 responses were received. And this were...
You are more male.
Yes, more male.
56% male, 43% female.
Absolutely.
Should that suggest to us that adult male are more interested in the election than female?
Absolutely. They get into elections and they are interested into elections more than the females.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Very similar to America.
Yeah. Here in Ghana, that's how it has been for some time.
Religious affiliation. Let me expand a bit. Religious affiliation, you had Christianity, 69% response.
Yes.
Muslim, 24%, and other 6.9%. So overwhelming majority of your respondents are Christians.
Definitely, and it reflects the general demographic situation
of the country. Yes, it does. Okay. All right. So how did you choose these? Or it was after the interview that you put this down?
No. So this is one thing that you would have to do to improve the accuracy of your research. Everybody has one vote, but we have some respondents that are elevated respondents. They don't have one vote in principle. They have some level of influence over a certain group of people. We call them elevated respondents. So instead of doing just any respondent you find within the constituency, you will improve the accuracy of your work if you rather go for elevated respondents. And
please tell Musa Dankwa to tune in. Musa Dankwa, global, he should tune in. Tell him, send it to him, DSTV channel 277. Producer, take this out of the social media, please. DSTV channel 277 and YouTube, Good Evening Ghana. Facebook, Good Evening Ghana official. Tell Musa Dankwa, Joyce Bauer, tell Musa Dankwa to tune in right now and listen to the way the PhDs do their statistics, not the thing, that thing. Okay, please go on. You're explaining to me about how you get these people.
Very well. So at the local level, don't underestimate the elevation.
The elevated respondent. That's very interesting.
Absolutely. And you don't underrate the elevation.
An artisan is elevated?
Yeah.
Why do you... I would have thought... Do you put the artisan and the trotro driver and the trotro mate in the same category?
No, these are commercial drivers. And
you put them also as elevated?
The commercial driver and his mate are together elevated. You know, they sometimes generate the conversation in the vehicles that we take. They serve the people. They encounter most of the problems of at the local level, bad roads and all those things and its effects. They usually...
But if I go to an artisan, a carpenter, to do me a chair, why would he be influencing me? How is he able to influence me on how I vote? I'm paying him.
Yes. No, he's not going to influence you. He has his own constituency, group of people that he too can influence.
By reason of he being an artisan?
Yes, by reason of he being a master craftsman or an artisan.
Oh, I see. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So a tailor in the community?
Absolutely.
Oh, I see.
So this is something that the stakeholders can take interest in. Do not underestimate the elevation power of the artisans, the hairdressers, the dressmakers, the fashion designers, tailors, the artisans. You see, they would have time to engage in the political activity. They will have time to come and vote. Sometimes, if you compare those who vote, if EC can give us their demographics, you would realize that more elites do not have time to vote as compared to the...
Time to vote or time to engage? Just the voting.
Engagement is fine. Engagement is
but
part
they may not
of
come
it.
and vote?
In fact, the statistics we have is such that even though elites understand the concepts and they could have made better informed decisions for and behalf of the general population, they rather do not vote much.
I see. Okay, so of the artisans, you got 3.5%.
Absolutely.
Okay. Chief farmer. So are all these elevated?
All these elevated. Chief farmer
these?
is elevated, yes. Okay. Market leaders or market queens.
So you spoke to artisans, chief farmer, clergymen, religious leaders, commercial driver, community member, elected assembly member, farmer, food vendor, key businessmen, owners of major retail stores, local media practitioners, and what's PIC?
Public Information Center.
Those places,
those information centers,
Market women and their leaders, mining. What? Mining here means what? Miners, okay. Yes. Nurse, doctor, health worker.
Yes.
Pensioners, But here you seem to have captured everybody. Who is not here?
You see, you're being part of my...
Student is there, teacher is there, artisan is there, businessman is there. Do you have security, police, military people?
Yes,
do they subject themselves to these things?
Oh, if you go to them, they would subject themselves. But we do not capture them. Before? Oh, we do not. Even if I take a police or a security officer's view, he will not be feeling a responder. You know, for each community that I visit, we have community report. We have community report per each community, and we visited 4,272 communities. It's in the next slide we'll be coming to. Yeah. And for each community, I can produce 4,272 community reports. They are friendly reports, as in conversational reports about their community and how that will impact the coming election in their view.
Wow.
Yeah.
This looks like detailed work. Okay. So this is what? Constituency level needs.
Yes.
So you assess the constituency level needs.
Yes. So the first level of conversation, I did 4 levels of conversation in my entire research. The first level of conversation will be what constitutes their need and what are the sort of responses they need from stakeholders to make life quite comfortable for them. And then we categorize those local level needs. So this may not be the dollar CD thing we talk about here in Accra.
So when you say constituency, across the country?
Across the country.
And across the country, the most important thing for them was good roads.
Absolutely.
That's what they wanted.
Absolutely.
And they wanted youth employment.
Absolutely.
That's next. Potable water comes after.
Yes.
Skills training.
Yes.
Public toilet facility.
Yes.
Health clinic, CHIPS compound. School renovation building. Electricity extension.
Yes.
Market center. Other is what?
Other is we have a problem. They don't actually pinpoint
anything,
whatever.
Okay. But that was higher than street light.
Oh yes, street light. You know, is not supposed to be a problem because
telecommunications network.
Yes,
that is MTN is working, is not working.
Yes.
I don't see mobile money interoperability or mobile money or money transfer or anything here. It didn't show up.
Those are Accra conversations.
Also, all these conversations, none of them is in Accra.
No, you have communities in Accra
that
are not like the other communities.
So Accra rural?
Yes, Accra rural.
Okay.
In fact, okay, it's fine. My statement will be quite unfair. All communities, not.
All communities,
I wouldn't want to separate Accra communities.
No, they call it Gan rural. When I was doing national service, they were posting us to Gan rural. Whatever it means.
In Anyasotum, in other places, you get places that are somehow rural.
Whose cultural and their lifestyle is rural.
Yes.
It's very similar to if you travel further away. But they are in Accra.
They are in Accra.
That's interesting. Okay, so telecommunication network, police visibility is that low. Community center, ICT lab is the lowest.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
This is interesting.
Yes.
So what people are looking for kind of differs, isn't it?
So I wish campaigns would be guided by data. In fact, one thing that I feel this one, I get the impression that the DRIP, for example, would have been a research-led intervention.
I'm guessing it is.
Yeah, because once, assuming each of the machines are working.
Helping here.
Assuming they are putting it to very good use, and each constituency is able to put it to use and reduce the bad road problem by, just say, 10%. You can have within the same period, 10% across 276
joining into the vote for the NPP.
Not necessarily translating into vote. I'm talking about trying to reduce the problems of the constituency.
I see. So if you fix this will come down.
It will. It will.
But is it coming down in favor of votes?
Definitely, you see, development has a correlation with votes. That one you cannot take away. In fact, I have a community that maybe your producer will put the picture on the screen. Anybody who is able to guess the location where I took that picture, I will dash the person.
Producer, get it for us, get it for us. Musa Dankwa, call us. So if you are listening, Musa Dankwa, we are all learning. Musa Dankwa, we are all learning. The PhDs are talking. We are all learning. Call us. The thing you do, we don't understand it. You are somewhere, no, you come, no, you say, John Mahama, 78% Ashanti. When they ask you, then you are smiling. But I like his smile. Musa Dankwa, he has some good smile. I mean, you ask him, then he's smiling. You ask him, then he will say that go and check my sample size on my social media page, on my Facebook page. Musa Dankwa, come and watch. Let's all learn together and build a better Ghana, okay? All right. So, producer, get that photograph. When you get it, let me know and let's deal with it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's move on. Okay, so now, is that a region I saw?
This is a region.
No. So now I need the national one.
Yeah.
Was it in front?
Yes.
Yes, great.
Yes.
Yeah, you're a real statistician. How did you know it was at the back? I've not taken notice of that.
Yeah.
So this is the controversial thing. Well, I mean, you don't think it's controversial,
It's
but
not supposed to be controversial.
based on this detailed work you did, this is what you came up with.
Yes.
Okay. We've all been having conversations about sample size.
Yes.
And people have been told that they are statistical illiterates if they think the sample size is small. So we are dealing with 18 million people voting, and your sample size is 99,000. Somebody's going to ask, but you 18 million people are going to vote. You go and talk to 99,000 people and come and tell us that somebody will win. How do we, those of us who are uninitiated in statistics, how do we relate to this?
Very well. And I get personally very happy when I am the one being asked to explain.
Yeah.
Because I don't get that hard questions. I don't see that pushed to the other researchers who will be there in social media. A certain research output will come. They will not even subject themselves to questioning. And I don't see the level of questions I get being put to them. But I'm happy. I am a professor of statistics and I welcome those type of questions.
Maybe sometimes because some of them, they don't tell us where they got the thing from. For the religious people, they say, God told me. You can't interrogate that. For Musa Dankwa, he's just smiling. You don't know what to ask him. But because you have put it out, we can now interrogate it.
Yes. So let me
18 million to 99,000. What's the meaning?
Good. So let me just in 1 minute explain the concept of sampling. Yeah. People have simplified it to mean there is a population and you are selecting part of the population. As simple as that.
Yes. That's how we all see it.
Absolutely. But when you learn sampling, the population, the nature of the population and the size of the population gives you an idea of the minimum sample you can have. So in terms of nature of the population, is either the population is heterogeneous or homogeneous. There are some populations that think alike, do things alike. They are likely to all decide on the same whatever. They are extremely homogeneous population. There, any small sample is fair. In fact, if I come to...
So you go to K2 South, you are sampling. You know that they are likely to decide in the same way. So if you take 3 people and they all say, as we did the last time, we are voting for NDC again.
So when you get that nature, then you can choose homogeneity.
Okay.
And then maybe it can lead you to a certain small sample size. But then...
Metro TV. Insightful and inspiring moments.
Has Christianity always been one of the religions in the world to you?
Oh, hallelujah. Praise God. Christianity is not a religion, neither is it a joining of a church and doing the Christian things like praying and giving and so on. Hallelujah. Christianity is the outworking of God's own kind of life received into the spirit of a man. Whoa! This divine life in the heart of a man makes him righteous, keeps him healthy. Divine
is below 16,500, is the first red flag. I mean, others can argue, but I'm a professor of statistics. I can prove to you by a formula that if you don't meet that, the issue of subsample, so that you do not have the luxury. It is true you are doing sampling, and that when you select part of the 276, you are safe. But unless you are able to prove to me that the 276 are homogeneous, if you admit they are heterogeneous, then you must represent all the subsamples in that your 16,500. So any study that does not admit that all 276 constituencies are heterogeneous in nature and must have subsamples from all, for me, it's a second red flag. It's unfortunate that this is not a student supervisor matter. If not, I am your supervisor. If you don't satisfy all those rules, you're not going to pass to the next level. Okay. I'm not a difficult supervisor, but I have graduated about 5 PhDs. They are doctors who pass through my hands, and seriously, you respect all the rules before you pass. So that is the second thing, subsample. So if anybody is doing Ghana, we have 276 subsamples. If you come and say, I have selected 100 of them, and I'm going to use them to generalize onto the population, you have trivialized the concept of sampling. You have made it such, we have the large samples. So if you get the English, it means that as you increase the sample, it tries to converge at the population. As you increase the sample. So I am permitted to do a minimum sample of 16,500. But if I want to get convergence at the population, if I want my samples to begin to behave characteristically like the population, I am supposed to enlarge, increase. So I could have done 16,500.
And it will still be valid. So long as you capture the 276 in the 16 and took care of their heterogeneity.
Yes. But I would have ignored the law of inertia of large samples. But
what does that law do?
The law says
does it bring you closer to the correct?
Absolutely.
Oh, I see.
So that in every study.
But inertia in English means I don't want to do.
Inertia means I'm stopping.
Yes, I don't want to do.
I'm stopping. So as you increase, the level of difference between the sample and the population reduces.
Oh, okay. So the more you go, the closer you are to
the population.
Okay, so why do you stop at 99? Why do you need to go to say 200,000?
Yeah, so others could have stopped at 16,500 and there wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah.
So once you meet the minimum threshold,
then
any increase is intended to reduce the variation between
okay. So if you stop at 16, you may end up in your percentage accuracy at 90. But if you go to 99,000, you may end up with 90
up there. So let us not, unless for the reasons why people are unable to do large samples, time, blah, blah. If we are in a hurry, you do 2,000 and you come out and do press conference.
Okay. So what questions did you ask them?
Okay. So my first question, like I said, is to have a conversation with them in respect of their local needs. That is my first part. Then the second part, we'll try and see whether for their occupation, if there has been some level of help from people who are supposed to help them. Then the third one, the voting pattern of the people in that community. So if elections are usually conducted here, which party usually wins, then they will say, oh, this one, that one, this one, that one. Then the last part will be for you to, we show you the ballot, and then you punch where you're supposed to do. We do two things in that.
So they are telling you how they vote?
The report I'm putting out is how the people voted.
So they were happy as Ghanaians to talk to you about how they vote?
They didn't say it, they punched it.
Oh, okay, so you made it easier for them. Because I was looking at Ghanaian culture doesn't do that. We don't. That's why we're never able to do exit poll.
And so
because nobody tells you how they vote.
Absolutely, and you have people who would decline to vote. So
did the questioners raise suspicion with your researchers that they are NPP or they are NDC or they are from police or they are from national security and they don't want to talk to them? Did they engage them like that? Did they question them about where they are coming from?
In fact, I have a case at Yabraso in Time. Time constituency, there's a small community called Yabraso. In fact, that is where the current sitting MP comes from. In fact, I was called that there's a problem. The people are fabricating onto my team member that he is there to do voter transfer.
Oh, I see.
Meanwhile, what he was there to do had nothing to do with voter transfer, just collecting
So
data.
they raised suspicion?
They did.
Did you find active political party people, NDC and NPP, sort of keeping an eye on the work you are doing and hoping that it doesn't affect their party's fortunes, and therefore, when they thought you were doing something that will affect their fortunes, did they attack you? Did you have that kind of situation?
The particular guy I'm speaking about in respect of your Abrasu case was actually attacked. So the case ended in the police station. The commander in charge at Tyne area was the one who resolved the matter. And then my guy was released.
But other places, they were happy to tell you, talk about politics with you, a stranger, or your researcher strangers, talk about politics like that?
So eliciting sensitive information, it must come from a relaxed respondent. So your first activity as a researcher seeking to elicit a sensitive information is to get the respondent relaxed. How did I get my respondents relaxed? By engaging you in your own needs, the things that bother you in your constituency.
That's a lot of time.
It's part of the, so it's in stages.
So you can't be in a hurry.
You are coming to seek information. If you are in a hurry, get up and go ahead.
So you may start the conversation today thinking it will last for 2 hours, but you may have to come back tomorrow.
Oh, 2 hours is too much. I mean, we don't want you to tell us all the problem of the community because others will also have to speak.
But do you introduce yourself to them as a researcher?
Oh, yes. I give introductory letter to all my team members, stating my name, my office, the intention.
So you don't go there yourself?
I do. I do supervision. Sometimes I do spot checks to see whether I can match.
Who paid for this? This is expensive.
Oh, usually I ride on projects that I get to do. So you remember I did one early this year, and I was seeking to do about 1 or 2 more before the final one. Eventually, projects will not come the way you want it until you get.
What does it mean, project?
I am a consultant.
So when you get a project, then you sort of add this to it.
Yeah. I'm a research consultant. If I don't write on the back of such projects.
But if the NPP wants to buy this or the NDC wants to buy it, will you sell it to them?
Would they buy? In fact, if any political party was interested in research, it wouldn't have been now. Do you get it? They would have
too late to buy it.
I mean, when would this thing had come out if I had not gotten the project to ride on to do this? When? Because if a political party going into election, you really would have needed this thing somewhere.
I'm sure they are doing it here and there.
Definitely.
But this looks very well done. This looks very professional.
Definitely. Yeah. I don't doubt the capacity of the various research officers that they have.
Oh, Prof, you have an LLB?
Yes, I do.
Oh, congrats.
I'm seeking to we'll talk about that.
So you have an LLB, you have a BSc, you have an MPhil and a PhD.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So you concluded after all this that Nana Kwame Bediako is doing better than Alan Kyerematen.
Yes.
Really?
That has been confirmed by
other researchers.
Many of and it is a true reflection. It is a true reflection of.
Alan Kyerematen has been beaten by Nana Kwame Bediako. I can't believe that.
Kwame Bediako is leading Alan Kyerematen, not beating.
Hey, it's tough. So John Mahama has 58.4.
But my general advice to Cheddar, Alan, and those in the other group is that, Paul, it will be too much of a miracle, all right, for anybody to just spring up in one election without a foundation, because you are competing against NPP and NDC,
who have huge foundations.
Build
They're
foundation.
Everywhere.
You see, so you don't just, they shouldn't, actually, they make it look like there is a certain miracle.
Yeah, it was difficult for that to happen.
Check the history.
Yeah.
If Rekumbobe could not, if Pakwesi Ndom could not,
Edward Mahama.
If Edward Mahama could not, if Gusitano Dems,
Hila Liman, the former president.
Check Madam First Lady, former First Lady Credo Ajimai Rawlings, who around that time was commanding over 1 million women across the country. Those women could have served as her foundation. Even she too couldn't stand. So I would have wished that, yes, it's good to have the dream to come and lead, but then nurture the dream. Take time to build the foundations very well, the structures well, and then come the next election. But, I mean, somewhere around early this year, around the first 3 months, Chief Alan was in the race for MPP or so. Then things changed, and immediately you want to start a fresh election like that. Where are the foundations? And Cheddar spent about 6 months in a mask. Those that we have seen their face, probably seen doom dems for several years, could not stand.
But having spent 6 months in a mask, he's third. A distant third, as you say, but he's third.
In fact, there has been no third force in Ghana politics over the Fourth Republic.
Yes.
Edward Mahama tried with some 4.4, but didn't meet the threshold of 5%
to become a
third force. Yeah. And there is no indication that in the coming election and future elections, if they go about it this way, if they do not have the time. So
when you spoke to everybody, you get the sense that 49.1% are thinking Mahamudu Bawumia.
Yes.
45.8% are thinking John Dramani Mahama.
Yes.
2% are thinking Cheddar.
Yes.
And 1.2% are thinking Alan.
Yes.
Okay. Let's move on.
And then this is the general outlook in respect of the
parliamentary is the interesting one. That's what I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
The parliamentary. Please, let's notice that we moved to another thing.
Let me quickly add this before we move. How did we select
the communities?
The 4272 communities. I used what I call the 51st percentile. 51st percentile, simply what it means is that in each constituency, if you want to get 50% plus 1 votes, how many communities do you need to build that number of votes? So you rank the polling stations. For example, as Unafunov, you have MIM RC as the topmost polling station with 741 registered voters. You rank it to the bottom, you draw your 51st percentile line as to the point where the votes will add up to 50% of the 80. Polling station or the community where the 40,000 plus gets, you draw your pass mark, and then you list the communities that make up the 51st percentile communities. That is how we built for each constituency the communities that we visited. The assumption was that votes from these communities would enable you cross 50% plus 1.
Let's talk about the parliamentaries. 128
yes.
for NPP, and you said they could easily grab 41 more.
Yes.
92 for NDC, and you said they could easily grab 15 more.
Yeah.
If you give all the 15 to NDC or 92, they still don't make the half a percentage, man. Is your research indicating that NPP are better in parliament than NDC?
So my conclusion on the parliamentary was that at least 148 seats by the close of elections 2024 would go in favor of the NPP.
148.
148.
That's a parliamentary majority.
That is a parliamentary majority. Historically, NPP have more safe seats than the NDC. Historically, when you add Eastern and Ashanti alone, you are doing like 70 votes, 70 plus votes, and then you can take from
seats.
70 plus seats.
Yeah.
And you can take from all other regions and others. So historically, even 2020, now that we have hung parliament, by the 2020 elections, NPP had more safe seats than the NDC. So it was the swings and those things that caused the hang parliament, and not that.
There's a particular constituency that Akufo-Addo won by 14,000, but NPP lost.
In fact, in the entire central region, they have 23 constituencies. It is 4 out of the 23 constituencies that NDC actually won, both presidential and parliamentary. 19 of the constituencies, NPP won all the presidential votes.
19 of the 23?
19 of the 23. Even though parliamentary seats, they won 10. So anybody seeking to convince himself that by winning 13 out of 23, NDC, Central Region is an NDC area or stronghold, would get it wrong. You know, the top is built on the base. So if the base is blue, he who occupies a green top would have to work extra hard
to keep it.
Go to Bono. Bono have 12 constituencies. At the close of elections, it was 6 seats. 6 seats, but only 1 seat, only 1 constituency won both presidential and parliamentary for NDC. 11 out of the 12.
Akufo-Addo won them.
Won them,
but he lost the parliament.
But he lost. The parliament was 6-6.
Okay.
In Bono.
So in 5 of the constituencies he won.
He won, but the NDC candidates
won.
So such NDC candidates will have to work hard and don't have to assume that
they will win it.
It's our seat. It's not your seat. You must prove your worth through the work that you do with your people.
I think we can stop here and deal with the original ones next time.
Yes, that's fine.
Yes, because
that's fine.
Doc, so that's interesting. Let's see what people are saying. We have run out of time. We'll do the John Mahama story on Tuesday. It's exclusive. We'll do it on Tuesday. The Russian story. It's coming up on Tuesday. Maybe we'll publish it on Monday because it's election season. So we'll be creating some of our documents for social media that may not be on television yet. What are people saying about the Dr. Professor Smart Sarpon's research?
Too well.
I might just say he has grown tremendous. From Don Kwesi says, this is a detailed research. Oh. Thank you, Professor Sapong. From Shadrach, he says, Prof has done detailed work. Well done. I believe this will improve political research in this country. From Glorious Israel, he says, Musa Dankwa has predicted that NPP will get 0% in Oforikum in the Ashanti region, and the NDC believes this. I'm shocked. Benedicto says, good evening, Paul. I consider Prof. Smart Sapong's polls more credible and reliable than this. He did the same for 2020 elections. Over to you, Antoinette.
Right, so people seem very pleased with the analysis so far. Some data, he says this is by far the most detailed and well-researched poll for this election. Great work, Professor. Philip Darko says Professor should actually leave the smaller parties because they serve the purpose of sending the election to the second round. General El Koman, he says, I'm actually very impressed with Prof. Smart Sapong's research. The thorough methodology, robust sample size, and careful consideration of demographics, margin of error, question wording, and neutral source all point to a top-notch academic study. Nevertheless, to build on this momentum, he says, we, the NPP, will not go to sleep because focus on discipline and internal cohesion, effective campaign strategies, and grassroots engagement will make it possible. And he adds a hashtag vote number 1. Now, Francis Boahen, the NPP, you, the NPP, but do avoid any complacency. There is no time to waste because there is no finish line. You are still climbing the mountain with your competitor by both of you running hard. There are new plateaus and new opportunities ahead of you. Please, you should neither sleep nor relax. From tonight, work hard like never before. But Larry Glover alleges that Professor is a staunch NPP guy, and he believes that this is a biased work, and still the NDC is winning. Now, Evans Boache contradicts that and says, this documentary speaks volume. It is superb and perfectly fit for a new dawn. He says, by the grace of God, as often, it has been revealed to him, like in the 2012 elections, the 2012 election petition and 2020 elections, that the NPP has won the 2024 elections and Muntumi played a key role. There is a promise to a man of God that he made to him in 2020 that according to his revelation, which is Evans Boache's, he has not fulfilled. Kamal Sanders says, as for him, no polls matter to him. The only poll that matters to him is the D-Day, which is the 7th December, and the Declaration Day matter the most. Nothing like this is important. Samuel Lamte says, good evening. I'm proud of you, Professor Sapong. I know you way back in primary school, and Jay says he's actually very intelligent and credible. And lastly, Gasti Man says, I trust Professor Sapong's survey more than any other poll, and I believe Bawumia will win hands down. My problem with him is his consistent complaints about whoever is criticizing him. Chairman General Sifakai has been advising him about the nature of the work he's doing, which is associated with that. Yet it seems he keeps complaining at every opportunity. I think he must concentrate and stop that, else it would make his work look bad and artificial, because it seems he might be pleasing people. And lastly, Hussein Guno, he says, Professor Smart Sapong has a good track record. His research prowess is not in doubt at all. His predictions are from science and data and not cooked from his bedroom. DNB is working as if he's in opposition. He has surpassed the tense of his main opponent, who should have been doing more. The NPP victory will definitely not be a surprise.
All right, Doc, thank you very much. People are commending your show. We have a date with you on Tuesday to complete the original ones. Everybody is sending me text that bring Doc back on Tuesday to complete the original ones. So also teach us how to do statistics properly. Okay, viewers, Mr. Producer, can you put the 8 days to go on it so we can put something on social media? But now people are getting to bed, so they want to go. Okay, if you don't have it, that's fine. We'll sort it out. Oh, thank you. It's 8 days to go to the book launch, so let's get ready. We'll tell you more. Keep your eye on our social media page. We'll get some invites for our ardent viewers. So those of you ardent viewers, send a text to my producer and to some of the social media editors, the ladies. They will bring it to me, and so this person will be reading his text all the time. This is number. He wants an invite. We'll get it here by next week Thursday on the show. We'll get our invite sorted out. Burkisu is coming, so you should be there. What's the venue? I'll tell you on Tuesday. We're still on it. Good evening. 16 days to go, and vote wisely. That's good evening, Ghana. Good night.